submit their names, address, and contact numbers with each entry. Entries for the theme competition are accepted from citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the winner will be expected to appear and participate in specific Independence 40 activities. Remember the deadline, April 30, midnight, and late entries will not be acknowledged or considered. So that is, yes, that's from the Independence 40, the Independence 40 Anniversary Committee. All right, it is 10 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. I want to get the conversation going for today, and I'm coming back to a topic that has been in the news for quite some time. We've talked about it, but I want to get your view on this and other topics, of course. Feel free to call at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. No, there was the Prime Minister's roundtable interview, which was on Wednesday. It's called the Roundtable, a special interview with Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew. This was held on Wednesday at the Koi Resort, I think it's the conference room. And it's an opportunity for members of the media to ask the Prime Minister questions on matters of national importance. And at that last interview, the Prime Minister also spoke to his recent travel, where he was at the regional symposium on crime. I think the theme for that was violence as a public health issue, the crime challenge, and he also attended the IMF World Bank spring meeting, so he also spoke to that. Of course, as members of the media, we got the opportunity to ask questions of the Prime Minister on a number of matters pertaining to St. Kitts and Nevis, and to get an update on what his administration, what the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is doing in relation to these things. You guys would recall that I've been asking about the forensic audit that was reportedly done on the Development Bank. The Prime Minister has since, let me share with you, for those of you who may not have been following. Well, the Prime Minister said, because of the nature of the report and the information that is there, we put it through a process, and that will determine when we make it available. Just because of what we've uncovered with respect to the Development Bank and the activities that took place there. So I take this to mean that, because of what they have found in that report, they're going to have to put it through a process first, and that process will determine when they make it available, for the public, for public scrutiny. There's been a long talk about the forensic audit being conducted on that financial institution since, I think, December was when we first heard about it during the budget debate. I've been hearing about it ever since. Now, I could understand that there are certain things that you will not be in a position to share because you may not want to jeopardize the investigation that is ongoing in respect to that matter or any matter. But sharing that something has been done and not being able to provide evidence that it has been done, I don't think it makes much sense. And so what the approach that I would have taken would have been, you conduct the investigation and you wait until the investigation is over. And you come and you say, because of the sensitivity and because of the nature, we apologize, but we weren't able to share this with you because we did not want to jeopardize the investigation. But here is what we have found. But I'm taking the position, until I see it, I will not believe it. Until I see it, I will not believe it. Your thoughts, your views, and your opinions. Just open the phone lines and we welcome your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. But before I take any calls, I'll have to take a short break to acknowledge our sponsors. So we'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll take some calls.
You found the sound 98.9 FM.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no drink and we are shell down bars. Blast like a star with some gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices right here on 98.9. It's Voices for Friday, April 21st, 2023. Let's head to the phone lines and we'll take our first call for this morning. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. The phone lines are open and we're welcoming your calls. On today's edition of Voices. It's Friday, April 21st, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is now 19 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour. Thank you guys so much for joining the conversation for today. an opportunity for you to share your views and opinions on matters of national interest. For those of you who are just joining the program, I've raised the question regarding the forensic audit, that had been that reportedly was conducted on the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister on Wednesday spoke to that, and he mentioned that because of the nature of the report, it has to go through a process, and that will determine when they make it available. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take our first call. The caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Greetings. Thanks for taking our call. Okay, the pricelessness of creativity, creative writings, etc., etc. Notice I put the word pricelessness to it, because money can't compare. You see me? So, saying that, we listen when you talk about the advertisement with the concerning the 40 years independence, putting in the thing there. And we heard somebody say it before, the kind of meager money, the 1,500 what they give people, this kind of creative vibration. Ridiculous. And the need to know that these things got no price to it, because, as I said before, it's priceless. So, when money is talking, it should be money that is substantial. If we stop insult people, and then they want you to make appearance personally if you win. Foolishness if we're done with them things. No. Violence and health issues. No. People who, as we said before, there's a violence that is called polite violence, and it is very real. And there is mental issues to it. There is mental health issues to it. Health issues, but it's mental. And it needs to be addressed. We can't just deal with the bloody ones them to say, well, okay, when somebody gets shot, get gunshot. It is a health issue, and it causing this and that and tower the other to the state. What about people who go around practicing polite violence? We have a health issue there too, and it needs to be addressed. It is called mental health, because people who commit polite violence, they are damaging people mentally as well as them not stable mentally in the mental health. So we need to take it to that level and stop looking on just the bloody one them and the bloodshed in one them. We need to address that, and perhaps we can prevent the bloody one them. We can prevent the bloodletting ones them. But we need to deal with the health issues that is connected to polite violence. We need to address it, and we need to address it like yesteryears. Blessed love.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Voices on 98.9. Phone lines are open, and we are welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. It's Voices for Friday, April 21st, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Remember, you can also follow us on our social media platforms. Check us out on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, Twitter account, and our Instagram account. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. For those of you who are Sorry, let me take that pin and we'll take this call. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Host.
Caller, you sound a bit soft. Can you raise your voice a bit?
Yes, you're not hearing me?
Yeah, that sounds better now.
Yes, what I was saying, good morning, I'm very indulgent. But there is a personal concern for me, and I believe it's for law-abiding and peaceful person around the world. The recent outbreak of violence, to me, it seems like it's a civil war in the Sudan. Already quite a number of Africans are fleeing their homeland, different parts. And now you have Sudan, who really suffered over the years, the people that is. But when you compare the past to the present, just a few years ago, they were living in peace in a way. But you have the president who is in charge, it's a military government, who is in charge of the army. And then you have the deputy, who run a paramilitary force, call it the Rapid Response Force. That is a force that supports the army that the president really leads. And they was trying to incorporate the Rapid Response Force into the army. There were negotiations, but it seems to me the negotiations broke up between these two men. And now you have an outbreak of hostility that involves jets bombing the capital. Thousands of people are fleeing. These are people who struggling people. And these two men fighting for power without any consideration for their own people. Power hungry. Causing havoc. Hundreds already been dead. Bodies all over the street. And people are fleeing with whatever they could see. And I am saying here that, to me, I look at these end time in regards to leadership. We had some leadership probably in our own federation. Past election, maybe something to the deputy and the leader. We had another prime minister and followed it. And it is worldwide. People are not taken into consideration in regard to solution, reconciliation between leadership. It's all about them. And then the innocent people suffer. My heart goes out to the Sudanese people. Already they had suffered enough. And to see what they are going through because of these two men, these two black men. I have yet to hear Johnny to comment on this and say something. Say something about the suffering of these people. Because we are placing a lot of emphasis on Africa. Of course, the Africans, they were colonized. But so do we. Our Caribbean were colonized. But our leaders, they are not really without fault. But they have led us well. They have led us well, but the African leaders who you all are encouraged to go up there, look what are they doing to their own people. The heart goes out, bombing, hospital, people there cannot get it, no school, no medication in the hospital, and people are fleeing for their life. because these two men want to lead the country. So, Mr. Host, this is what is happening in a modern world. And I said that the spiritual man, because the Sudanese people are predominantly Muslim. And right now they are supposed to be celebrating the most holiest part of their religion, Ramadan. Ramadan, they was right now. And look what they are facing. And so the heart goes out to them. I pray to God, Creator, that He would deliver these people. All African people are suffered through violence because of bad leadership. Thank you very much, Mr. Host.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on 98.9. It's Voices for Friday, April 21st, 2023. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. And you?
Man, are you giving God thanks? Every day I give God thanks, and God is good to me. Listen to the last caller, and the turmoil going on all around the world. And the shooting, that is like a hobby now in America. It's like hunting season, And it is so sad. Now, let me talk about the press conference. What they call it yesterday?
A round table. Special interview.
It was a waste of time. A big waste of time. I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed. I was there waiting. You asking questions, Bart asking questions, and the other person said, what is the use? How many times have you asked about the Development Bank? And somebody about the CDB. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of time. You mean up to now you can't give an answer about the citizenship by investment operation and the questions that are being asked every time? And people losing trust. Now listen, the question was asked about the prison. I don't know if it's you or Bart, however.
I think I did, yeah. I did.
You did. Did you really hear that answer he gave? After all the commotion before the election?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening.
We can't think the contract. Well, how come the contract for the solar panel thing, you haven't heard a word about it? So how come? How come they get out of that one? You ever asked yourself that question?
Well, I guess it's a case where different contracts, different terms and conditions.
What were the conditions for the one with the prison? I mean, the amount of noise they make, and they got. I know what it is. It is the Chinese connection. I mean, it is becoming now embarrassing, and how all of a sudden the energy thing for Nevis is the federal government owned. Isn't the debt a Nevis debt? Huh?
You mean for the geothermal?
Yes.
Well, I think I don't remember exactly when it was, but the
They gave the federal government gave the guarantee, but that is Nevis one. All of a sudden, becoming our project. The federal project. They have taken control of it. It now pop up in all of their conversations. So it is their project, and they got this and they got that. That is a Mark Brancy to say, and the Nevis people are the NRP, not Dr. Drew. He has to be careful who advising him, Otherwise, one of these days he's going to call a press conference and he's going to be there by himself. Because it makes no sense. You go in and you can't get any answers. And the one he said is not true. But if you say it is not true, you're supposed to go ahead and give detailed information. Isn't that so?
I forgot what the question was. Something about it was about Social Security. Yeah.
It's not true. But he did not say what make it not true. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following your call. I'm listening.
Yeah, you see, one of his advisor is very dismissive, to people. I listen to them on a show, on Juni's show. And it's very dismissive. What's about was yesterday? Did you all record Edinburgh's presentation?
No, I'm not familiar with the presentation.
He was on Freedom yesterday, but I woke up when he was maybe near the end, He was talking about the social program and people's response to it. I said some people got some nerve, And the gangsters, them. Do you have any idea who led the protests in 1993?
No.
Well, I could tell you. 3 of them, because I saw them shaking on government quarters. Gate trying to go and depose the then Prime Minister. You must decide who is sending to bring message, And the people want this and the people want that. What they want. I mean, he really got to sort out this who's speaking for him. All right. You understand what I'm saying? Eh?
Yes.
That was the same one. He was one of the 3 leading it. I saw them. He came out by our office trying to terrorize people. And now he's making all kind of statements about this thing. If you said, and you say this is why we don't listen, if you are running for election, I go for all the parties, and you have a proposal, this is what I want to do. You should make preparation just in case you get in. You're now in and you have nothing to plan. All of a sudden, the school project, that was a big thing. Well, I suppose because they're going to build it on the old site, it could stay here. It has disappeared from the conversation. And even a more pressing thing, the health, the national health program. What's the name of it again?
National Health Insurance?
Yes. That to me is one of the most pressing things, Every time you tell about somebody dead, somebody sick, somebody got cancer, somebody got kidney problem, all kind of stuff. That has been sidelined. The school sidelined. Yeah, all kind of things. Oh, it can't be done now. And people must be careful what they say. So then, every now and again, they do something to distract people. Pure distraction. Now, he said yesterday that, he promised 3 VAT reduction days, so reduced days, right? That has to be based on assumption that people work in, that people have enough money to spend 3 times a year. You see, when school going to open, they're going to start off with uniforms. I sure by now the government buying the most of the uniforms. While it sounds good, but it don't make no sense. Not in a country where, as we say and they say, unemployment is high. So where do you expect people to get money from to go and shop next Saturday? They want to go this week. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that it is coinciding with the agriculture open day, isn't that so?
When is the agriculture open day? I thought about that.
Next week, Thursday. I think it's Thursday and Friday. You don't remember?
No.
It come back to you now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all kind of things clashing on that date. We don't plan. Let me tell the good doctor. You mean well, but you have some people around you who planning your downfall, you know. This, you call into the show, you ask a question, you get a dismissive answer. A dismissive answer, you know. Speaking as an advisor to the Prime Minister. It has to be better than that. What about when is the school going to be built? So the children in Boston High School they have to wait until 2020 when? 5 years from now? I mean, really, you hear, oh, we're going to build the hospital. When we're going to build the school, we need the school now, right now, more than the hospital, you know. Because we have 3 existing ones, 2 of them being underused. I mean, we got to get our story straight. Trying to appeal to people by saying, oh, you know, we promise. Well, if you know you promise 3 things, then you promise to give 3 double salary. I was so disappointed yesterday because I listened, you know, intently to hear what was going on. And even the matter with the 2 things he traveled with. He should have said, you know, the IMF asked that they reintroduce personal income tax and reduction in the social safety nets. I wanted to know what was his response to that. Because they're now pushing it again. Increase your base. Now, the Inland Revenue Department said that they're updating their register. Is that in preparation for personal income tax? It ever crossed your mind?
No, it's not. It has
if you're
not,
paying
sorry.
heavy and they got just thing, yeah. And only younger people have email address, you know. That's what happened to the re-registration. You're asking older people who are not computer or tech literate or capable. That is the route. So I want him to say what is his response to the reintroduction of personal income tax. And the other thing, because the response I was getting from his advisor yesterday has to do with the reduction in the safety nets. A lot of talk was about, the alternative lifestyle and whatever. The plan should have been in place by now. And they can't say they don't know. They must know because there are people around who are part of the first program. So when you say we're going to train them and apprentice them to who? So please, see if you can get the thing from Juni, because I missed it. I would like to hear the first part of Mr. Edinburgh's presentation.
All right then, caller.
All right then.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution. We'll take a short break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
You hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it?
Yep, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
The TDC Home and Building Depots have gone green for the month of April. We're giving our customers 20% in savings on all eco-friendly products. Shop during Earth Week, April 17th to 22nd with your green bag and claim your green bonus with an extra 5% off the items that fit inside. Then on Earth Day, April the 22nd, it's no plastic bag day. Bring along your own green bag, shop as you please, and enjoy the savings. Live the green life with the TDC Home and Building Depots, everyone's favorite retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back to Voices right here on 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll be taking some more calls. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon. Devon.
Yes, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, Devon. This is Journey here. I want to say good morning to all listening, to Mrs. Henry and the mayor down there in Hertfordshire specifically. Devon, let me just put forth a scenario before you. You live in your parents' house, and your parents have had 12 children. Your parents die, and they left an inheritance to be divided with the 12 children. Now, let us say the die left $12 million to be shared. A thief heard of this inheritance, and the thief comes into your house and creates squibbling. So between your siblings, there is squibble. Who is to get this and who is to get that? But at the same time, the thief manipulates what is there to be shared in the form of a lawyer. And the lawyer, in all the squibbling, inherit more than what's supposed to be shared with your siblings, Devon. Now, the caller from Hertfordshire call in and talk about what is happening in Sudan. Now, we have had a former president of America say, let us bomb the dam. 2021, a war started out in Ethiopia between brethren, different tribes, all on the continent, on the same soil in Ethiopia. Now, who instigated that disturbance? Egypt and America. The point I'm making here, Devon, what is happening on the continent of Africa, it is by design. Look at America, look at Europe. What else do they have to offer? What can they offer? So in order to maintain chaos, they come in and they themselves created the chaos. Now, Devon, it is sad, that the leaders on the continent haven't recognized this. Why? Because they are corrupt, because they are accepting what falls from off the table, the crumbles that fall off the tables, Devon. They don't even know what is on top of the table. So they are corrupt by accepting $50 million. While France is raking $500 billion annually, Devon. Now, today there's a new scramble for Africa. You see all what's going on with this war and oil prices going up and all of this, Devon. It's not even about Ukraine. There's a bigger picture. There's a bigger agenda here, Devon, because they want to destabilize just what they did to Ukraine with Russia invading Ukraine. Devon, it's far deeper than just what is on the surface. Now, I've stated before, and I don't want to be presumptuous, but because, something surfaced on social media and then they pull it, where a president said, wait until you see what we do with Taiwan. Because in order to weaken China, they might invade Taiwan. That is left to be seen when it happens. Because they are planning, Devon. They are planning. There's a new scramble for Africa in this scheme of things with New World Order and all of that. And you see what is going on with Brits, Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa? Now, here's what I am saying. We are the majority. And just what the whole world needs coming from Africa, let us take ownership of it. Am I saying that we're not supposed to invite the rest of the world to be a part of the mineral and the resources that belongs to us? No. Because they cut off our continent in 1884, 85, 4 months in Berlin, with not one African was present. Let us take ownership of what the whole world needs, which are the minerals and the resources of the continent. Let us own it. And again, I want to make it clear that I am aware that our leaders on the continent are corrupt. Maybe not all of them. Now look at what is happening here with our CVI program. Who is trying to stab us in the back with our CVI program? Isn't it the same Europeans who we have signed on to? So when the caller in Hertfordshire is saying that the Sudanese are killing them, warring, yes, it is by design. And we need to, Yvonne, I am saying it is like a drop in the ocean, as we just say. But my words are vibrating. I am also on social media, Devon. But the majority of us who remain silent, it's almost like you're saying, well, let them kill themselves. It is sad because one of the areas that they capitalize on is that information is not flowing on the continent the way it is here. And again, let us keep in mind, BBC and CNN, they create news. There's a movie, Devon, it's one of those 00 movies with, I think it was, I can't remember the title of it, where they had this stealth ship and the villain put China and Britain to war by bombing a battleship and knocking down, I can't remember the title of this movie. They are so capable of creating the scenarios, the chaos, and then they feed the world with their false narrative of the news. I want the caller in Hertfordshire to be aware of this. They create, even what is happening down in Haiti, they create these things, Devon. But our leaders are so gullible and greedy. And it's not just there because it happened here. Our leaders here too are corrupt and greed has consumed them. Devon, we have to change that. Is change going to come today or tomorrow? No. Because greed is consuming all of us. It's a weakness, it's a disease that we have to eradicate. And it can only come from within. Because most of our leaders, when they become the problem, well, we get rid of them with an X. And the same one goes in, give us flattering words, and they do the same thing. This thing is so messed up to hear, Devon. But I'm having hope because I know changes are happening on the continent. Changes are happening on the continent. We are in the age of Aquarius, where our DNA has been reactivated, Devon. All these airwaves of technology and airwaves, our words are vibrating in the air, Devon, and it is reaching the way it's supposed to reach for all of us. That's why the scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, because we accept the misery and we are swallowed up in it. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Voices right here on WINN-FM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we're welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls for this morning. Hello, caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my friend Devon.
Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I like you as a journalist too, because you're not afraid to ask questions. You hear my Rasta friend Eli X? He's correct. Polite violence. It comes in many forms, and he's so correct. Now, let me go to the same thing up in Sudan. You know what happened up there with those two generals? None of them want to take the position of deputy. The two of them want to be the head. And that is why they're fighting against each other. None want to respect the other one and say, okay, you be the president and I'm going to be the deputy. And that comes from what the Bible says. They want to control full power, that they could do what they want with money. The love of money is the root of all evil, and that is why they're fighting against each other. It is disgraceful to see what's happening up there in the whole of Africa. Blacks killing blacks just because they want to be on top, to rule. No white man in Africa, no Caucasian in Africa shooting down nobody with no gun. It's black shooting down black. So who designed that? For black to shoot down the brother. They have the mind. Everybody have a mind of their own. Let your conscience be you dictates for you. Nobody could come tell us down here that, look, I'm going to design this for you to go and kill those people. Oh, what's up? In Nevis are these people in Montserrat. No. You got to tell them by now. You can't go tell me go shoot nobody. Why? So you go with your design, whatever you have. Go with that. So Johnny, done with this foolishness about his boy design. What design? What happened long ago when they went into Africa? Go buy slaves. No white man went in the jungle where the slaves were living. None. It's black people in the jungle bring out black people and sell them to the white man, and the white man then put them on the ships and bring them and scatter them all over here. So that kind of design, that's supposed to done dissolve long ago. Now come locally now. What we say is correct, because one of the advisors to the government was employed by the government to enforce the law, and instead of that, that employee broke the law and was disgracefully discharged from his duty. Now, do anybody who's supposed to enforce the law and uphold the law and deliberately broke the law could be any advisor to anybody to tell them to do good? No, you got to present your resume and your record, and then you'll get the job from that. And that same advisor, 1993, went down in planning unit, went in there to demand that the people they must get out and go because the election, this and that, and all kind of thing. Was not authorized legally by anybody to go and tell the people them shift so and shift so. Ignorance. And today you're going to come tell me that that individual is employed as an advisor to the government. What can the government expect, or anybody expect from that advisor? So Ms. Henry is correct. And these load of killing up and down is It's over 300 people in Sudan dead innocently because of those two greedy men who want to be the super leader. I'm going to go now, but hear this. In the early 70s, there was a leader in Liberia named Dr. William Talbot, and he was a theologian, a Christian, and he was found robbing Liberia, and he was overthrown by a younger man named Taylor. So therefore, his greed, why all of them they're fighting against each other and killing each other. So therefore, Johnny, you are my friend, brother, but come good here, don't defend wrong. Do not, because this morning you tell me when I see anything wrong, speak out. I always speaking out, Johnny. I don't want no face, and I don't look no friend, so me a whole no wrong for nobody. I talking and who want to vex. Anyway, Divan, thank you very much, man.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It is the top of the hour, so we'll take a break now for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation for today. This is Voices on WINNFM 98.9 for Friday, April 21st, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. We'll take this break, and we will be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services services and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories: PAHO provides vaccination updates ahead of Vaccination Week in the Americas. St. Kitts Nevis Marine Management Area and Habitat Monitoring Officer participates in OECS Marine Biodiversity Workshop. Former Jamaican Prime Minister at the State of the Black World Conference called the Haitian experience a tragic paradox and should not be ignored by the conference. Internationally British Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab resigned from the government following an independent investigation into complaints that he bullied colleagues, the latest scandal to force out one of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's top ministers. Now the details. Ahead of Vaccination Week in the Americas, the Pan American Health Organization held a press briefing focusing on updates on vaccination in the Americas on April 20th. Immunization advisor with the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Margarita Giselli, said that based on data from 2021, immunization for various diseases and viruses is still considerably high.
With the latest data that we have on St. Kitts and Nevis and all countries and territories in the Americas come from 2021. So based on these data, the vaccines that we are monitoring for the routine immunization program show a coverage of about 99%, specifically for St. Kitts, and relatively high for other countries in territories in the Caribbean as well. And the same goes for the vaccine doses against measles, rubella, and mumps.
However, the Caribbean is still susceptible to outbreaks because of low returns of children to clinics to receive follow-up vaccinations.
However, if we look at the Caribbean as a whole, we find that more than 11,000 children younger than 1 year who live in the Caribbean, almost 1 in 10, did not receive all of their vaccine doses. So there's definitely have been an impact of the pandemic on coverage rates in the Caribbean, leaving many children vulnerable. So this is due in part to services not always being available, but also to a large degree to vaccine hesitancy, which is linked to misinformation. And all of this situation leaves the Caribbean susceptible to new outbreaks. And as the director was mentioning, with such a strong tourism economy as in the Caribbean, the risk of importation is high, which is why it is so important to strengthen vaccination coverage rates in all countries of the territories of the Caribbean, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, to stem the possibility of these new outbreaks. And PAHO is collaborating with ministries of health and partners across the region of the Caribbean to improve not only coverage rates, but also to provide and disseminate additional information regarding vaccines and vaccination to the general public and to healthcare workers.
What is driving vaccination hesitancy?
PAHO and a number of colleagues, including UNICEF, have administered a number of surveys and data collection tools in order to understand exactly, as the question poses, what is the concerns surrounding COVID-19 vaccination, not only in children, but among adults and health workers as well. Some of the results that I can summarize here is that there are considerable doubts that we have understood with regards to the safety of the vaccines. Many have said that they seem to have been developed too quickly in order to assure the safety of the vaccine. And some have concerns about the effectiveness of the vaccines, since people who have received the vaccine can still become infected, even though the infection is either asymptomatic or quite mild. And the number of deaths and hospitalization is significantly reduced once vaccination coverage rates are increasing.
Immunization advisor with the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Giselli. What has PAHO been doing to help with vaccination hesitancy and closing immunity gaps in populations?
So what PAHO has been doing is working with the member states, the countries and territories in the Caribbean to strengthen their vaccination program and close immunity gaps, but also to conduct behavioral research to inform immunization studies, communication tools, not only for the general public, but also for health workers and for decision makers at all levels. And then finally, specifically in the Caribbean, we are working very closely with CARICOM and with professional associations to make sure that trainings on vaccines and vaccination are an integral part of the curriculum of medical schools, nursing schools, so that every health worker, not only vaccinators, have all the facts at their fingertips in order to be advocates for vaccination and vaccines towards their patients.
According to the immunization advisor, vaccination rates of all types dropped during the pandemic, but stressed utilizing global initiatives like Vaccination Week to help curb that issue is paramount.
Like in the rest of the Caribbean and in most countries in Latin America, yes, vaccination coverage rates have fallen during the COVID-19 pandemic. And PAHO continues to work with the Ministries of Health, with partners, to strengthen not only the routine immunization systems, but taking advantage of events like Vaccination Week in the Americas to fill these most urgent gaps in immunization coverage.
Together with the countries and territories of the region of the Americas and its partners, PAHO celebrates the 21st Annual Vaccination Week in the Americas and the 12th World Immunization Week, which runs from April 22nd through 29th, 2023, under the call to action, Get Up to Date, Each Vaccine Counts. Tricia King, Marine Management Area and Habitat Monitoring Officer from St. Kitts and Nevis, attended the 3-day Biospace Marine Biodiversity Training Workshop hosted in Dominica, which ended on April 20th. King shared her experience with marine mammal and bird strandings with participants of the workshop.
I really value the opportunity to get to present on marine mammal, reptile, and bird strandings. We've had some recent activity, and we actually also have some historic data that reflects pilot whales being stranded in St. Kitts and Nevis since the 1970s. And we're using these forums to bring public awareness to these events, and so we can protect marine biodiversity through rehabilitation work and support.
Participants of the workshop at its conclusion visited Scott's Head and Scott's Head Marine Reserve in Dominica to increase awareness of the threats to marine conservation, including stony coral tissue loss disease, which is destroying stony coral in the region. The EU-funded program seeks to develop a marine conservation action plan to preserve these creatures in the OECS member states. The training workshop works in conjunction with the Biodiversity Support Program for ACP Coastal Environments, a 5-year EU-funded project to strengthen the capacity to manage and sustainably use coastal marine resources in the region, targeting youth groups and students to inspire the leaders of tomorrow to preserve marine ecosystems for future generations. The Biodiversity Training Workshop on Marine Biodiversity Conservation in the OECS helped participants to understand marine biodiversity, discuss the threats, identify conservation actions which can address the threats, discuss the role of marine biodiversity in the promotion of the blue economy, and develop a marine conservation action plan. In regional news, former Jamaican Prime Minister at the State of the Black World Conference called the Haitian experience a tragic paradox and should not be ignored by the conference. That report and more from Carib Update.
A suit has been filed in the Jamaica Supreme Court to compel the government to come clean over donations for the failed bid of Foreign Affairs Minister Camilla Johnson-Smith to be elected Commonwealth Secretary General. Johnson-Smith ran an unsuccessful campaign to unseat the current Secretary General in a multi-million-dollar effort that saw her traveling to several countries to shore up support from Commonwealth leaders. The costly endeavor was supported by donations from several quarters, including the Mousson Group, Grace Kennedy, and businessman Keith Duncan. An attempt was made by U.S.-based Jamaican Wilfred Rattigan through the Access to Information Act to obtain full disclosure on the donors and the amount of money pumped into the campaign of Johnson-Smith. The Ministry of Finance indicated that it was not in possession of any documents detailing the source of the donations. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Thursday condemned U.S. sanctions against Cuba as he visited the island during the last leg of a Latin American tour that took him to Brazil, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Lavrov met with his Cuban counterpart Bruno Rodriguez, kicking off the visit by taking part in a wreath-laying ceremony at a memorial in Havana for Cuban independence hero Jose Marti. During his visit to the island, which for decades was a staunch Moscow ally. Lavrov condemned the American economic sanctions on Cuba and blasted the U.S. for seeking to impose its will on the world, according to a dispatch on the state media outlet Cuba Debate. Rodriguez, for his part, rejected what he called the expansionist aspirations of NATO and the sanctions imposed on Russia. Lavrov met later in the day with President Miguel Diaz-Canel. Former Jamaican Prime Minister P.J. Patterson says the tragic history of Haiti reveals the hypocrisy of those who tout democratic values and yet stifle it according to their own narrow interests. Delivering the keynote address at the opening of the 4-day State of the Black World Conference at the Baltimore Convention Center, Maryland, on Wednesday, Patterson said the Haitian experience was a tragic paradox, which this Fifth World Conference dare not ignore. Patterson explained that while the bold and revolutionary martyrs paid with their lives for centuries thereafter, France, with the strong endorsement of the United States and their European counterparts, extorted from the impoverished Haitian treasury billions to compensate for the crushing defeat of Napoleon's army and the deprivation of enslaved labor for France. Examinations may have to be rescheduled for students at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. Dozens of staff members represented by the West Indies group of university teachers are holding on to exam papers until they receive a remit. Pro-Vice-Chancellor and campus principal Professor Rosemary Bell Antwine said the union's members demanded she speak with them. Following the union's last protest in March, members were informed by UWI management that the chief personnel officer promised to respond to their request within 6 weeks. That 6-week period ends on Sunday, and the CPO is yet to respond. As such, the union continued protest action Thursday for lecturers and staff who have not had an increase in salary since 2014. The union said there will be no submission of examination papers unless a remit is obtained. Exams are set to begin next week.
We now bring you these international reports.
Britain's Deputy Prime Minister has resigned after an investigation into complaints he bullied colleagues. The latest scandal to force out one of Rishi Sunak's top ministers. Dominic Raab quit on Friday, in a major embarrassment to the Prime Minister, who entered Downing Street last October, promising a government of integrity. He was the third senior minister in 6 months to resign over their personal conduct. Raab's departure comes just 2 weeks ahead of English local council elections, where Sunak's Conservatives are predicted to fare badly. Sunak's government follows the scandal-ridden tenure of Boris Johnson and the chaotic economic policies that brought down Liz Truss in less than 2 months.
Does he think more bullies will be brought to justice?
The months-long independent investigation into Raab's behaviour heard evidence from multiple government officials about complaints of bullying at 3 different departments. Raab requested the investigation in November. He said he felt duty-bound to accept the outcome, but defended his own conduct. He said the report, which has not yet been publicly released, concluded he had not once sworn, shouted or physically intimidated anyone, and dismissed all but 2 of the claims against him. It set the threshold for bullying so low, Raab said, that it set a dangerous precedent for the conduct of good government. Sunak is facing his own investigation. Parliament's standards watchdog is looking into whether the Prime Minister properly declared his wife's shareholding in a childcare company, which would benefit from a new government policy.
Right, we're going to head to Sudan now. The fighting still continuing in the capital, Khartoum. This is despite the paramilitary rapid support forces saying they were prepared to respect a 3-day ceasefire. Clashes continued. We know these are the latest pictures. They did continue overnight, actually. More shelling, bombing. People still, unfortunately, trapped inside their homes, unable to move around freely in the city for obvious reasons, and that is having a real limiting effect on getting humanitarian aid and supplies and medical supplies around the city there. There is, on an international level, a growing diplomatic pressure on the two groups here, the army and the paramilitary force, who are both fighting each other to try and get a ceasefire to hold. These are live pictures of Khartoum. And when we did have the offer from one side in this conflict of a 72-hour ceasefire, there were then hopes and expectations perhaps that the army on the other side of this would come out and say something public and support that ceasefire, but we don't have that as yet. The World Health Organization says over 400 people have now been killed so far in the fighting. Right, let's cross now to our correspondent who's got all the latest on this, BBC Africa's Ferdinand Omondi in Nairobi for us. Ferdinand, thanks very much for talking to us. To just bring us up to date with what's the latest there today, these hopes of a ceasefire.
Well, we can confidently say now that the ceasefire has been breached. The fighting has actually escalated. When we spoke earlier, much of the fighting was happening in the north of Khartoum. Now it's spread down to the west and even the south. And Reuters is reporting that for the first time now, the Sudanese military is now conducting an operation on foot. So this is not really a truce, but rather an escalation of the violence. They seem intent on now combating the rapid support forces head on. And they didn't speak about supporting the truce, but we do know that yesterday the military leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, had mentioned that he does not see peace talks as a solution to this. He did say that he only sees that the only way out of this situation right now is a military solution, and he seems to be keeping his word.
And those diplomatic international efforts, there's been plenty of pressure. Any sign that we're going to get any kind of breakthrough is going to make any difference?
Well, it's really hard to tell right now. Some of the closest allies of Sudan from the Arab League are speaking out and really saying that it's really time for them to at least try and offer that humanitarian pathway. Turkish President Erdogan has offered to mediate and offered the leaders can even travel to Istanbul for the talks. He says this is something that is willing to offer. Egypt and the UAE, very close allies of Sudan, have also spoken, and he's been quoted, the president of Egypt, Al-Sisi, calling the matter an internal affair and warning that external interference may work against the entire peace process. He's also impressing upon the two leaders to really agree to at least a humanitarian window. It was expected that they would have allowed the people of Sudan to at least evacuate during this period of aid, but even them haven't been able to convince the military leaders to lay down their weapons, even if temporarily.
Ferdinand, just before I let you go, just briefly, could you just remind us why these two men who head these two military groups are fighting?
It's all about power and control. The two are allies under President Omar el-Bashir, who they joined together to topple in 2019 after a popular uprising against the rising cost of living and the degeneration of the Sudanese currency. 2 years later, but they also again ousted the transitional council that had both the military and civilians. Now, last year, they agreed that they would have now a pathway towards civilian rule, but now they have disagreed on the future of Sudan and the timeline for the integration of the paramilitary RSF into the military. So now we have a case of what appears to be two independent-minded people and two very strong and armed militants fighting each other, and that's where we are with hundreds of people dying. You have mentioned now the death toll has gone well beyond 400 and counting.
Yeah, really distressing situation. Ferdinand, thank you very much for bringing us the latest there. Thank you.
Abortion rights in Texas are some of the most contentious in the US. Even before Roe v. Wade was overturned, most procedures after 6 weeks were banned, with no exceptions for rape or incest. And it was a Texas federal judge who recently tried to suspend the use of a popular abortion drug, not just in the Lone Star State, but across the country. An intervention by the Biden administration means currently the drug is still largely available, but the legal row has now reached the highest court in the US, with a decision on its use expected tomorrow.
It's infuriating, it's confusing, it's fearful. People are fearful right now about what they're doing, what they're having to do in order to get basic health care.
Mifepristone is one of the main abortion drugs in the US and can be used during the first 10 weeks of pregnancy. Campaigners who offer advice about abortion pills say the drugs are essential for women living in states where the provision of abortion care is banned, but where self-managed abortions are not technically illegal.
They are pills that are mailed directly to their homes, and people are using them to have a medically safe, self-managed abortion in the privacy of their own home or space. So it is a lifeline.
It was a group of anti-abortion doctors who brought the case against mifepristone, saying the goal was to protect American women and girls from dangerous chemical abortion drugs. Now, despite the medication being approved more than 2 decades ago, a Texas judge ruled that the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, had rushed the process, that they didn't consider the side effects properly. But many medical experts disagree.
So we have decades of safety data on this medication. It is safe to use for nearly everyone. It's the preferred choice for many pregnant patients who are hoping to end their pregnancy. It's used for miscarriage management as well. So I would say it's undoubtedly a very safe medication. And this really comes across as a political decision and not a medical or evidence-based decision.
This comes nearly a year since the Roe v. Wade ruling, which guaranteed women the right to an abortion, was overturned, and individual states have the power to decide. Currently, most abortions are banned in 13 states, including Texas. Florida was once a destination for those seeking the procedure in the South, but now a 6-week ban is expected to be brought in, with victims of rape and incest required to provide proof.
These are unborn babies that have heartbeat, they can feel pain, they can suck their thumb, and to say that the state constitution mandates things like dismemberment abortions, I just don't think that's the proper interpretation.
Medication abortions have to take place with a physician present in Florida. If the Supreme Court decides to allow restrictions on mifepristone, Dr. Rapkin says it will have a profound effect on services.
We will have to cease providing medication abortions altogether, at least for a while we completely restructure our processes. Medication abortion will no longer be a legal option to patients here in Florida, forcing patients to undergo a procedure that they hadn't planned on, travel farther to access an abortion, or continue a pregnancy against their will.
If the conservative-leaning Supreme Court sides with the Texas ruling, it could significantly limit access to mifepristone. But there are legal opinions which suggest it may not be binding across the country, though much is still unknown. The future of US abortion access lies in the hands of its highest court.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines: PAHO provides vaccination updates ahead of Vaccination Week in the Americas. St. Kitts Nevis Marine Management Area and Habitat Monitoring Officer participates in OECS Marine Biodiversity Workshop. Former Jamaican Prime Minister at the State of the Black World Conference called the Haitian experience a tragic paradox and should not be ignored by the conference. Internationally British Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab resigned from the government following an independent investigation into complaints that he bullied colleagues, the latest scandal to force out one of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's top ministers. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services services and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
Found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
It's tool season at Horsewood's Building and Nevis Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't miss out on the year's best time to buy tools. Get 25% off selected tools store-wide. Hundreds of tools on sale. Slash by 25%. 25% off on tools for this tool season at Horsewood's Building Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Horsewood's Building and Nevis Centers, the Federation's favorite home improvement stores. Some exclusions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINFM 98.9. It's Friday, April 21st, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. We are continuing the second hour. The phone lines are open and we're welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989. or 662-0989. We're also live on our social media platforms, so you can follow us via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. This is Voices for Friday, April 21st, 2023. All right, welcome back to the program. I know that there was some question about the geothermal. I think it's a partnership between both administrations, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Nevis Island administration. I think it's a partnership, so to deliver geothermal in both St. Kitts and Nevis. But yeah, it's more so a partnership. I don't take it that either governments are taking over. Well, Nevis was, let me say, more in front in terms of pursuing geothermal, but it is now a partnership between both governments. I recall there was I think a press conference or a meeting or something of that kind some time back where the Minister for Energy and or Environment spoke to the partnership. Maybe it was at a press conference, cabinet press conference, yeah. Spoke to the partnership between the federal government and the Nevis Island administration. I want to share with you an article we did concerning speeding tickets. The traffic department issues more than 1,000 speeding tickets in 15 months. And the question is, does St. Kitts and Nevis have a speeding problem? That is the big question. These days, my biggest concern with people is when they text and drive. And yeah, that's crazy. But we continue to listen to our the officials from the traffic department and the police force continue to plead with our drivers, our road users, pedestrians, all of them to, take their time and to exercise extreme caution. And there's no need for you to be speeding and texting and, doing all sorts of things while you are driving. At the same time, there are also some traffic wardens that are unreasonable. And I don't know if they're trying to hit a goal or something. And sometimes in this situation, you exercise your judgment, use your judgment. But I believe sometimes it is willful, I'm gonna be honest. Let's head to the phone lines and we'll take some calls for this afternoon. Hello, caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon again, Devon. Any of them give it the ticket to yet?
No.
Can you drive?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yeah. I used to make sure so that my children is 18 and 18, but they give them a thing to go and learn to drive. Oh, today is a special day in my life. You're not allowed to talk my own business, eh? Talk your own business before anybody talk it and distort it. You know how that go, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, you talk it before they distort it. 53 years ago, I got married on the 21st of April.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, my husband, he got to leave me. He passed away in 2015.
Wow.
But I still celebrate, you know. But a big, you know, when you're young and you get married, and you have one, in those days we wore gloves, you know, gloves and veil and the whole works. Anyway, it was a good day. Is the Democrat and the spokesman still in existence?
I honestly don't know.
Because I realize that when they have press conference, nobody there to represent either of those two local newspapers. You realize that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard much from them, but I don't know if they're still in operation.
Still printing. Because I was saying kind of strange. One for Labour, one for PAM. And nobody representing them. You know? Oh, something else I was to ask you. You're talking about the speeding. Well, the speeding is a problem of self-control and newer, faster vehicles, eh? I think what happened to the racetrack in Nevis?
It's still active. They still use it from time to time.
But maybe you could take the initiative and organize that thing, because I think a lot of the young drivers, no, they want to see how fast the car could go. You don't think it is that? You have 20 miles and 40 miles. With a car that could go 120. Because somebody was suggesting that maybe they need to increase the speed limit. Because somebody said 20. When I learned to drive 20, you go in the second gear, you know. So, because I wonder if that is part of the problem too. That they have these high-powered, they could go faster. Mm-hmm. And then you come in and you don't see anybody. The only trouble is when you have an accident, it could change your life forever. Forever, you know. You're speeding and you kill somebody, you can be charged with murder with reckless driving.
Yes, that's true.
You go in jail for years. When all you could do, take a little more patience. And they have some roads. I kind of glad they put in this stoplight up by the Shell bulk station, you know. When I could see, I used to go to work, for a walk every morning. And I am telling you, when you see the buses coming across the Bay Road, the Newton Bay Road, well, anything run across there. Man, dog, cat. I mean, you can't believe, you know, that up there 40 miles an hour. Who ain't going 80, going 100?
I just believe, you know, and sometimes they drive a little too fast.
And not a little too plenty.
Yeah.
Because if you speed limit is 40 and you're going 80, it's twice. And in the morning, where they're hustling to go back to bring up the 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock people. You know when they're going down. When they come up bad enough, when they're going down the Long Road and the Canada Road. They're flying over these things, you know. You know what did I say? Call to people. Bastard people coward. You never heard that one? You never heard that one before?
No.
They say bastard people coward. Because when we go in the bus and they're flying, you know, our heart in our mouth and so, you know, bus driver. You know, this time you're saying you're about Jesus. Please beg the man slow down. Yeah, it's a common saying that people in Bastille coward when they go in the bus. And the younger one, because they and most of the passengers are the same age, they respond. So they're pushing the driver to go faster. And he now maybe want to impress the girls, you know? I mean, look at the accident down by thing. And they have no proper self-control. They pull up anywhere in front of anybody. When you to drive by yourself, look out for them, you know. They have bus stops and they don't use them. Oh, stop here, stop there. Sometimes not even 5 minutes gone, you know. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
Well, I went to Guyana and I tell you, we had to walk about a half a mile from a bus stop to come back to where we wanted to go up the road. They're not stopping for you. In Jamaica, it's bus stop too. So if you got to walk back, you walk back. But we don't even want to walk back. We don't just bus stop, the bus turn off, you know. And so that these bus drivers, full of energy, trying to beat, they actually race each other. There's a section of the road down when you leave St. Paul's over there. They want the police down there. They fly as if the people inside in the bus is a bag of flour, a bag of rice. No consideration. You know, so when they get a ticket, most time they deserve it. Now with the guards, the crossing guards and whatever. Ask the person how many times, how many chances were they given.
That's a good question, yeah.
Yeah. And some of them got in nerve to be arguing and abusing. I've seen them, you know.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
They don't understand the person saving their life when the one down by Ross University. Obviously, well, the person behind will get it wrong, eh? Because you always here keep at least 2 vehicle distance away from the vehicle in front of you. But they don't get a signal. They just start brap. The road belongs to the busman. So you coming behind and don't expect it. You run right into them. So I want to encourage our bus drivers, vehicle drivers. Otherwise, give them to ticket or carry the ticket.
All right, then, caller. Thank you so
All
much
right,
for
then.
your contribution to this program. We are taking your calls right here on WINNFM 98.9. Okay, we seem to have lost that call. I was trying to get that one in. Call us at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, Devon, Journey here again. Now, just before you went on the news break, culture call and caution me and some things. But let me say this, Devon. I always like to say that we are fulfilling scriptures. Culture, if you're listening, just as Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, and just as Judas betrayed the Christ, that is playing out with us, the black race. It is playing out in this our day. It is playing out, Devon. Make no mistake of it. But let us look at the end result of the story with Joseph selling his brother into Egypt into slavery. He turned out and saved his brothers from the famine. So the thing is, what is happening on the continent, it is sad, Devon. And culture always say, well, no one can come and tell me, go and take a gun and kill my brother. But you know, Judas was enticed by 30 pieces of silver. Our leaders are being enticed with the crumbles that fall off the table. That's the point I'm making, culture. It is happening. Our leaders down here, they do accept bribes because of the dollar, what's glitter. Culture, please understand, this is what I am saying. We have to eradicate that disease that is within us. Because let us apply the outcome of Joseph's story. Because he in turn turned around and saved his brothers. Are you following me, Devon?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar with the story because we were all brought up into Christianity. You know, I have something I want to throw out, Devon, but that would be story for another day. Especially for people like Mrs. Henry and our elder down in Halfway Tree. Devon, I'm going to give you a hint. Have you ever asked yourself, Who did all the killing in the Bible, Devon? Was it Satan or was it God? No. I'll tell you why I said this, Devon. We know of the story of Job, where God told Satan, take all that he has, but do not touch Job. So, in reality, according to what we read in the book, God has ordered to kill and have killed. So, what are our concepts? Or who is the concept of God as we read in the scripture? Because all the killing that is done in the Bible, except for the story between Job, Satan, and God, where God told Satan, touch all that Job had, but do not touch his life. Prior to all that, God ordered King Saul to go and kill a nation. God has killed. And Mrs. Henry, you know, you and I talk off air, but what are our concepts, or who is our concept of who God is? Because in all that we have, Devon, the word of God that is written by holy, inspired men, what it is really is that the word of God is in the word of man. So again, is God is a mist in the sky, or is God man? Thank you for hearing me, Devon.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open and we're welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. This is Voices on WIN FM 98.9 for Friday, April 21st. We do have some more callers on the line, so let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take these calls. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Greetings. Greetings.
Well, good afternoon, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Are we live? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we want to continue certain things. 40 years of independence. We did during the thing up the back, you know, right on the front. So much so that when the Honorable Dr. Kennedy Simon said when he sound he neck, I know, I watch your good. I see when the woman shudder. Like he was, I think he had reached a part where it said, from colonial, whatever, you see me? And I see when she shudder, I see the movement. I say, wow, yeah. Anyhow, we have said 40 years of independence. If we value independence, right, as it ought to be valued, I mean, if you now give 40,000, right? Because memory they don't say no. Creativity priceless. You see me? So if we now give 40,000, say 1,000 per year, give 20. And etc. Make it be something that is beyond what they are doing now, because come to what no, for me, no. Like how me tell you, me had that experience when it took place in the park. Me's a writer. For me to go put in my creativity inside of that, which we know, we must win. Just like how me said to my brethren, there was one there in Jamaica, say that our mother's there, poetic contest, and me tell them, right in front of Tony Rebel, and say, me are going to win, you know, me are going to enter win. And Tony Rebel say, you're going to win, and Queen Africa say, yeah, man, you should say you're going to win, and bop, win it. If me go into that, put in my creativity inside of that, me know me are going to win. No. When you want to tell me, say, like how me I tell you, me I come from them time, the 83. You want to come give me $1,500 easy dollar and $2,000 for 40 years of independence? Let me just say to you, me watch the Honorable Dr. Kennedy Simons making that sound. And the people who were just in that colonial thing, their representative, me see when the woman, yeah, she feel that, according to, as I would say. You see it? But she just couldn't do nothing about it. It's an insult. It is an insult to be giving people $1,500. especially when this is a 40th year celebration. What do these people here, man? When they must swing money up and down on some things where they have no value, like creative minds and creative thinking and writing, etc., etc. What do these people here? You notice in the biz they don't harness human resources. They don't have no respect for human resources. Other than in the political whatever. But that soon get a beat, you know. It soon be no more. Yeah. It's time that them recognize creative. The upcoming music festival, yeah. Me and them make carnival about the money, some 1 million what they have to go. Black man like me and you. I bet if it was a white boy they wouldn't go on so. But anyhow, them a go on so. That is the same thing we talk about. They must put a price to the man creativity. Burma boy. It takes a lot out of people to go up on stage and Mr. Burma boy in front of some white people and the man, I don't know what I must say, but you see music and the way the man up on stage, it reminds me of Bob Marley. Burma boy, I sing some conscious thing to him because me I listen words, you know, when he mix up his words, them home tongue and English, but me I listen when me can listen and me soon start to interpret the rest too. But maybe it's the same thing what he must say in the language, the same thing he must say in the African language. So, yeah. He must come. You know, give thanks that blah, blah, boom, boom, and it's 1 point. And them man, they don't know, them man, they're conscious man. See me just talk about in the lyrics. Them man, they really know, say, okay, me I come and sing this music festival. 50,000, 60,000 people in the place. All right, them place can hold you, so and so and so. All right. Me just charge millions up there so and cross this up. But you see these people here, how much you can pay me? Negotiation. The man, no stone heart and no, but thing. Entertainers are no human. They might make one big horrible about money, and some way it is that politics talk too. I mean, don't tell them, you know, you see this Westminster style politics, parties and politics, it don't kill you now. If you don't leave it alone. When them have transport we as human care, but then separate none of we. What do these people here? All of us were seen as human cargo. I mean, what you know, you just go on, you know, like you're an idiot. Like you forget. You forget something what so touchable. 400 years of physical enslavement. The mental one day and it was how I look like. Because everything was so certain people who call themselves educated couldn't deflect it, deflect it. And they know what a ganja man and say ganja man mad. And people use ganja mad. They better know who mad. They better know who mad around here. Don't tell them this morning, you know. It's catch up Babylon catching up where ganja is concerned. So who is Rastafari? Not many no Rastafarian we do, you know. When you know, easy man schism we do, you know. His name is Rastafari. So me say Rastafari, so we carry his name. His name is not Rastafarian. And not Rastafari. When you give a boy and chuck on, you know, pin pan top of Rastafari and involve Rastafari in you know, confusion. Sure. Give thanks to the time, my brother. Blessed Lord.
All right, thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation for today. Let's hit this break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Here are your Horseman's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running April 20th to May 3rd.
Now your Value Club Blue Tax specials. Nature Valley granola bars just $13.49. Palm cooking sprays $13.49. Chef Warrior decanned pastas and micro pastas just $5.99. Essential and everyday canned fruits $8.99. Banquet brown and served breakfast sausages $8.99. IGA and essential everyday cereals just $9.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. cereals. Kind cereal bars, $6.99. Post honey bunches of oats and pebble cereals, family size, $16.99. Arm & Hammer toothpaste, $12.99. IG and essential everyday frozen vegetables, $5.99. Old Orchard apple juice, $8.99. Orville Red and Bucker popcorn, $9.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices right here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The phone lines are open and we are welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or at 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or at 662-0989. It's just 3 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour here in the studios of 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll be taking some more calls this afternoon. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, good. Your last episode, you touched on a few issues, but this one was relating to the music festival, and you attempted to make a comparative analysis, but I think it was somewhat limited. I thought maybe you could have gone back a couple more years, considering this is our 25th, which we will be hosting. You could have made a broader comparative analysis. But albeit the one with Ojo Banton, I think you gleaned from, and you probably read out some figures. Yes, but I would have liked to see a comparative analysis going back a little further. Not all, but, so that they lead up to. And so in terms of crowd expectations, because I tell you, Bojo has the one that Bojo has finished off that night with was the bar has been set high. And we will all agree on that. And so the expectation is to in terms of the crowd, in terms of the influx to the island, is to see how best we can really lure our Caribbean nationals and international nationals alike to our shows on such a slow time. That was the objective, but I think that you should have gone back and just mentioned a couple others,
right,
as to ascertain more in terms of what the previous events would have accumulated and their accomplishments, and the Bojo one. We have had, and no two music festivals will be alike. No 2 days are alike. And so, yes, but the objective is to really put your best foot forward and try to really lure our visitors to our shows so that the incentive can redound to the nationals, the nation as a whole. So that's just my perspective. I listened to the press conference, or if you could call it round table, or whatever it was coined as, and I have heard the appeal from our Prime Minister about how best the U.S. can assist us, because if they are asking for our assistance in other areas, yeah, so too they can assist us in stemming the influx of the ammunition, guns and ammunition, firearms, and so forth. But I said that there are business persons who are amongst us, and some of them do have firearms. And if a business venture might go bad amongst two business individuals, they don't resort to the gun. They does not resort to the gun. They will have a conversation where they can settle their businesses in an amicable way without resorting to the gun. So my approach and my advice to our Prime Minister is to get into the minds of our youth, And so even though some, and it is illegal to have a firearm unlicensed, and so even though there might be guns in the minds of our youth with a good, trained, groomed mind set in his intention, his ambition, his future endeavors on the highest echelon, would see a gun as a harmless toy. Unless you don't get into the minds of our youth. Mr. Cornelius, over the years, I'm from a volatile community in Newtown. And over the years, I refuse to talk about the violence, not because I don't want to contribute to make my voice be heard, but because a lot of what I have to say, they're not ready. And even though I continue to speak, they are not ready. Mm-hmm. I am saying to our Prime Minister, yes, it is an issue, and we need assistance because we are partners in this thing. But don't wait for the U.S. to do nothing, because that will be the least they will do. Firearms is big business. And if you're going to produce and you're going to have like a car 2015, 4 or 5 years, they will want to update that vehicle because the modern technology would have afforded you to be more sophisticated. Okay? Likewise, firearms, these guys, there was a time, 10, 15 years ago, maybe, when we would see that like the islands is like a dumping ground for those Japanese vehicles because they're like a food chain, their car chain is coming up with these new models and they want to make space for. Likewise, firearms. So let's get into the minds of Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Jude. You're a young man, and I admire you. Let us get into the minds of our youth so that once we groom the minds of our youth, they will see a firearm as the most harmless thing amongst us, the few that there might be. And so there wouldn't be no need for this illegal trade of firearm reaching our shores. We can reverse this thing. I heard Mr. Henry talking about advisors and advisors and advisor. I don't want to be an advisor to no one paid for. My voice and whatever I say, it will never come back to me. What I put out there, and I don't dispute if anyone begs to differ with my opinion. It is out there. It is out there for those who have ears to hear. Thanks for listening.
All right, then, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. This is Voices on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Caller, your comments as it relates to, guns and all of that. We often ask the question, how do guns get into the country? We don't manufacture guns here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we have a problem with violent crime. As it is now, we've recorded 9 murders for the year, and out of the 9, 8 are gun-related. I think one was a stabbing incident. Yes, one was a stabbing incident, and 8 are gun-related. But we don't manufacture guns in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we have this problem. And not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the Caribbean. There was the recent symposium where Caribbean leaders and other officials from the various ministries of national security, they spoke on violence as a public health issue, the crime challenge. And it is a serious problem we have here in the Caribbean, and one that we're going to have to look at seriously. We had here in St. Kitts and Nevis the peace program, and that has its different views and opinions to it, where there are some who are for, there are some who are against. But how can we seriously address the issue of crime and violence and, drug and gun trafficking and all of that? How can we seriously address these? Looking at an article that came out of the regional symposium, it says that CARICOM leaders ended a 2-day regional symposium on violence as a public health issue, declaring a war on guns to combat the illegal trade, which they said provides the weapons that contribute significantly to crime and violence in our region. It says, in addition, the delegates attended the symposium, including academics, crime experts, police commissioners, and religious and non-government organizations, said that they were alarmed by the epidemic of crime and violence in the Caribbean. They said it is being fueled by illegal guns and organized criminal gangs that pose a threat to our democracy and the stability of our societies. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls.
Good afternoon, Mr. Collins. Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Colin. Thank you so much for your call.
Well, first, I always want to thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. A country we are born into and live into, and doing well for myself. And if I could help others, I will do it. Now, Brother Devan, you can't think it one in this gun situation. It's the whole Caribbean, the whole West Indies in this situation with this gun violence. When I look to nearby Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, even Antigua and all of them Leeward Island country. Jamaica, we know Jamaica them had them issue for years. Trinidad and all them had them issue for years. But Devan, what I think the Caribbean leaders them is doing the right thing. We got to step down from America to send gun to our shores, our country. I don't know. America supposed to do something about it. Because nobody know how these guns coming in, whether they're coming in by shipment, by the port, or coming legally or whatsoever. And let me tell Africa, when a young man get a gun in his hand, he don't think nothing else but just try to ignorant and use where you want to use it, how you want to use it too. So it better we prevent them from coming, or they get them in the hand, it better force. Because if a man wants a gun illegally, that means he wants a gun to kill somebody. If a man wants a gun by licensing the gun, you know he got to business protection or whatsoever. He got to protect his business. So, to me, they go to the man. So, where a young man get a gun and where you got a gun, got to do whatever he got to do with the gun. I do not feel, because we're going on up on social media. You know, with these young people, when they ship on social media, that attracted to them, you know. They get attracted to them and do people these things with these guns. So, the Caribbean leaders, them is doing the right thing. I hear Mr. King Trolley from Trinidad. He bawling out, he crying out. And this gun thing is serious. If you could hear Mr. Keith only going on like that, and other Caribbean leaders going on like that, it's something we got to really get up and stamp and try to stamp out these guns coming to our show. Eh? We ain't like in Ukraine and them back in them country in Africa with ordinary Haiti and all them places where young man got to take up gun and go kill one another. We in a country living comfortable, living good. We live in good. We live in a country living good. You understand? And I don't see the reason why a young man got to take up a gun and shoot the next young man. I don't see the reason for that. It's just total ignorance. And I can say again before go, if we as community don't work with the police, we ain't gonna get the problem solved easy. And the police got to work with the community them too. Because sometimes when you give them information, the information will leak out. They got to work with the community and work with us in the community. It's horrible, man. It's terrible to see young man going like young people like going like that. You understand? Okay, then, Brother Devon, you have a wonderful day. May God bless you.
Yeah,
continue to do the good work.
Yeah, thank you so much for the call to the program. Caller, thank you so much for your contribution. I'm here just reading up more on the article, and I see there is a lot more that we can do than just having the talk. We have to take serious action. It says that in the declaration titled War on Guns, the regional leaders said they were also calling on the United States to join the Caribbean in our, quote, war on guns and urgently adopt and take action to stop the illegal exportation of firearms and ammunition into the Caribbean. We lament the disproportionate share of our national budgets that we are compelled to allocate to measures to address crime, violence, and national security, as well as mental health and other health-related challenges that directly result from the illegal exportation of guns to our shores, it stated. Now, the host, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, told reporters that the CARICOM leaders who met also agreed to implement a ban on assault rifles. He said during the symposium, one of the experts had outlined that the production and sale of handguns in the United States in recent times saw these heavier, more lethal and destructive assault weapons that are designed for military use, for maximum destruction. Those weapons are now weapons of choice, and the production levels are higher than the handguns. Those weapons have begun to appear in our country. They are now commonly in the hands of criminals who get them through the illegal trade, but they are also being licensed by the state and put in the hands of civilians, he said. The regional leaders have agreed to stand with Mexico on its legal action against U.S. gun manufacturers and retailers and establish an entity under the CARICOM Implementing Agency for Crime and Security to assist in the containment of corruption and financial crimes, including money laundering and cyber crimes, through greater collaboration to harmonize related legislation and operational processes. They have also noted the costs associated with the crime epidemic on the region's social, economic, and health systems, saying that they are determined to ensure that our people of the Caribbean can exist in an environment of peace and one of safety. They said seized of the urgent need to reserve the normalization of violence in social interaction and to restore the bonds of social solidarity. they remain convinced that what is the multifaceted nature of violent crime and its pervasive effects require a robust regional response that includes a public health approach, which is an all of society strategy, including family, church, academia, cultural and sports personalities, minority political parties, and wider civil society. They acknowledge the concerns of the Caribbean population that there is a tilting of the balance between the rights of the individual and the public safety interests of the whole society. The leaders have also agreed to appoint an eminent person to lead and advise them and the Guyana-based CARICOM Secretariat on further strategies and reforms and on effectively operational zing the decisions of heads. This is coming out of the regional symposium that was held on crime and violence in the Caribbean region under the topic or theme, violence as a public health issue, the crime challenge. And so it's not just one that is local to us in terms of in our federation, but across the Caribbean region where the people are crying out, what are we doing to respond to criminal activity in our country? That is the $1 million question. What are we doing in response to that? Oftentimes people say, the government is not doing enough, but what are we doing as a people, as a community? We must understand that it's not just up to the government or to the police or the community alone, but as the article rightly said, an all of society strategy, an all of society approach to tackling this issue. But in terms of the illegal movement of guns within our Caribbean, boy, it is sad, to say the least. It is 1:23 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I just want to ask a question. I listened to that thing where you just read, right? And my question is, okay, they're calling on the U.S. About the gun issue. But
yes.
Nobody from the government shipped no gun to St. Kitts or any other Caribbean island. What are the leaders of the Caribbean doing to guard, to stop the gun from coming in, preventing the gun from coming in? Because what they should ask themselves is how the gun get in. That means somebody is not guarding the border properly. The gun, they may grow wings and fly in. They didn't fly over radar. They come in either to port or to somewhere, some sea they come through. Mm-hmm. So who somebody is not doing their job then. They have wings and fly through over radar. Mm-hmm. So who dropped the ball there?
But that's the
what
question.
What are they doing about that?
How are the guns getting here? That's the question, yeah.
Exactly. So what? They're either coming in by sea or port or air. That's the only two way they could come in, by sea or air. So somebody ain't not in the air and somebody ain't not in the sea properly. You have a good day.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lincoln David Pell. I'm just calling in relation to the program. What I must say, yes, people are calling for guns, but you know something? If you really analyze the situation, if you rest a gun down on a table, it can do no harm. The people are who we have to work on. And that is why oftentimes I call and I ask people to be calm, resolve situations peacefully, and in a fair manner, because it doesn't matter what we say if the mind doesn't change from committing crime. crime will happen. And therefore, guns, I must say, were made for one purpose and one purpose only, to kill. If you look at it carefully, if the gun is in a good person's hand, persons who teach firearm lessons and so on will tell you if the gun is in a good person's hand, the gun is a good gun. If the firearm is in a bad person's hand or an evil person, the gun is an evil person, the gun is an evil. Because it is the person who controls the gun will do what it wants with the gun. However, like I said, from a political point of view, my thing is, as one of your columns mentioned, yes, it's good to lobby to help to ask the person who wear those things and manufacturers to prevent them from coming. But also, the persons who are in our system to prevent those things from coming to our system should be active, proactive, and be on the lookout. And therefore, different techniques should be developed and even put in place. And plus also even a study can be done to see. I don't know. We have our border protection. I don't know if we here in our environment also look at something they call border protection, whether it's the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, Colombia, whatever. And they show how the border protection agents go about trying to stop drugs and all these things, smuggling of illegal stuff into their countries. And I think it's about time we, as well, and strengthen our border protection. And that's where it lies, because we do not manufacture guns here, and therefore they have to come in here somewhere or the other. And my thing from a political point of view is to let our border protection be stronger, detection rate, and also let these things be deterrent. If we are effective enough, we will be deterring persons from trying to import these things and get them here legally. And they will have to come legally. And if they come legally, anytime they will be used, it will be easy to shut them because their card will be there to prove, etc. You think you understand where I'm coming from, my friend?
Yeah, I'm following.
I just want our people to understand, is that it's the renewing of the mind. Because trust me, change can come, your mind can change, but you can change to something bad. So it's the renewing of the mind and to change the mind to do good. And if you follow the scripture, it said, man is what? The heart of man is what? Desperately wicked. Who will know it? But it's the only one how to change it is to live by certain principles. Not everybody going to do that, my friend. And these are things we have to accept and realize that are reality. But from a political point of view, we are charged, even in the Holy Scriptures, to do our best to protect and to also do these things in a fair and just manner. Therefore, our border protection persons have to realize they are doing a job to protect. And this is where we have to start. It might sound strange or whatever, but we do not make guns here. So therefore, the protecting of our borders is very important. Yes, it will be good to have the United States to stop them from coming down. Yes, it will be good to sue these countries or the manufacturers. But you know what? If you sue them and the guns still come in, are we really solving the problem? So we have to look at now and get our border protection agents, recognize that they're there to protect our borders, and whatever tools they need to protect our borders, we can get it done. Now, from my point of view and my party point of view, we have some ideas, but we are not in government now. So we cannot do certain things, but we can advocate certain things. And we could call upon persons. The most important thing we could call upon persons to do is to change the mind from doing wrong to do right. Some persons would listen and want to make change. I want to talk to all persons who, whether you say you're in a gang and you want to get in a gang. Somebody you hurt or kill might be a relative of yours. Because you know what, the sad thing is, only when death comes, sometimes you realize who related to who.
All right.
So let's have these things be done in a peaceful way. But from my political point of view, and or People's Action Movement point of view, which we put people first. And that is why our advocacy is about changing the minds of the people. Let them be industrious. If we could get our people back to work, because even the Holy Scripture says, an idle mind, if the mind is just sitting in not doing anything, of course, the enemy, who is the devil, will get into your mind and convince you, because we are not really going against just human beings. This is a spiritual thing as well. And then you go to church, or you too, so now you might know something about this. So we also have to bring in this. I know so a lot of people in our society do not like to hear it. But we are also fighting a spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm. All right, caller, I have to quickly wrap it up because we are out of time.
Yes, sir. So I just want to say that. Let us change our mind, and I'm calling on our border protection agents to let us be effective and get that done. Thank you very much, my friend.
All right, thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. This has been another edition of Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. Until next time, you guys stay safe and enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. Have a good one. Bye-bye.